Okay, 30 seconds has passed. So, several years back, I basically pointed out why Aku from Samurai Jack belongs on the complete monster trope. Yeah, I was basically shut aside, and there's reasons I was never going to get anywhere with that. And Aku was just put on the never again list, as it was originally called. This was several years back, and I should mention that it was primarily Lady Snakeosaurus who was basically shutting me down, saying I had no arguments, despite evidence to the contrary. I'll get to that, of course, but right now, but yes, you are seeing correctly. Yeah, let me read this out. Alright, with major thanks to my boy Scraggle, Starcrafty, for not only hashing this out with me, but offering me the honors, I have one heck of a proposal to make. And this is a post by somebody named Revik. What's the work? Samurai Jack is a show that put Gennady Tartakovsky on the map, a Cartoon Network and flagship show. Actually, Gennady Tartakovsky was already known for Dexter's Laboratory and the Powerpuff Girls, but although the Samurai Jack, I believe, is still more popular. I digress. Following the titular Samurai Jack, the series brought viewers along as the medieval warrior was cast from his timeline into a dark, dismal cyberpunk future where evil reigns supreme. Jack would go on countless quests to protect the innocent and defeat the wicked, all in a quest to get back to the past and thwart the events that turned his world into a six-act world. I forget which trope that would be referring to. Oh, theme song. Okay. You're referring to its use, the usage of the praise in the theme song. Okay. And just what Master of Masters, Deliverer of Darkness, nay, Shogun of Sorrow could have brought this world, the galaxy, to its knees? Aku! Yeah, finally he's getting on here. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if my voice is properly being provided. Hopefully my mic problems are. Hopefully my mic doesn't mess up at this point. At some point, primarily I'm testing my mic usage for my later adventures with streaming. I did remember to set up the microphone test, but anyway. We have a quote. Long ago, in a distant land, I, Aku, the shape-shifting master of darkness, unleashed an unspeakable evil. But a foolish samurai warrior, wielding a magic sword, stepped forth to oppose me. Before the final blow was struck, I tore open a portal in time and flung him into the future, where my evil is law. Now the fool seeks to return to the past and undo the future that is Aku. The supreme master of all villainy himself. Aku is the show's big bad, the archenemy of Samurai Jack, and one of the most iconic cartoon villains of all time. Many ages ago, when the Earth was still ruled by dinosaurs, an unknown monstrous black mass formed out of the reaches of the cosmos. As this mass threatened life in the galaxy, three mighty godly warriors stepped forth to destroy the entity. But a chunk of this mass was blown away from the battlefield, tumbling through the cosmos until it crash landed on Earth and wiped out the dinosaurs. Yeah, killed the dinosaurs in this continent, in this setting. Embedding itself in the Earth, the dark mass grew wild and out of control over the passing centuries, culminating in the time of the samurai. The Emperor of the land, in a quest to defeat the spreading darkness, brought a mighty army to bear against it and fired an arrow laced with a powerful last elixir into the center of the mass. Rather than destroy it as initially hoped, however, it birthed an entirely new being, that of Aku. And the elixir was blessed. The Emperor even did some chanting to back up the elixir's power. Moving on. Thanking the Emperor for granting him thought and form, Aku wasted no time in revealing his intentions of conquering the earth. He immediately ensnared the Emperor, forcing him to watch as his land is ravaged by Aku, his people killed, and his family endangered. Saved by the spirits of the three warriors who had once defeated the Black Mass, the Emperor was bestowed a mighty sword of human will and goodness, and used it to batter Aku into submission, sealing him inside the ground of Earth seemingly for all eternity. So yay! Happy ending already! Hey, goodbye! Get riddance already, Aku! I mean, miserable ingrate. Yeah, if only that was that easy. But alas, such a happy ending was not meant to be. 8 years later, as a rare solar eclipse took place, Aku shattered free of his prison in the earth and began his conquest anew. He once more laid waste to the Emperor's land, and thought the Emperor's wife and young son escaped. Though the Emperor's wife and young son escaped, the Emperor and all his people were enslaved by Aku, forced to work backbreaking cruel labor to harvest deep into the earth under threat of torture and death. Many years passed until the Emperor's now adult son, our Samurai Jack, returns to his home after many long periods of training and preparation, wielding his father's mighty sword. Actually, the prince wasn't called Samurai Jack at that point yet. He would come to be called Samurai Jack after a bit more, but yes, the prince is Samurai Jack. The prince is the titular Samurai Jack, and he's named that after he's basically named by democracy and by some rappers and in the cyberpunk setting. Yeah, but I digress. He's been called Samurai Jack for convenience. As Jack tears down Aku's fortifications and saves his enslaved people, he faces off with the Dark Wizard himself. And though Jack nears victory, Aku pulls out a trump card, casting a spell that drags Jack through time, thousands of years into the future, to be exact. With Jack and the sword out of his way in the present, Aku is able to run rampant and bring about a miserable new order for the Earth and beyond. Yeah, thousands of years. And only Jack's sword is able to kill Aku. I mean, I believe there are other things that can't even hurt Aku, but for the most part, Jack's sword is basically the master sword in the setting, and Jack is basically the chosen one in the setting. Comparing him to Link from The Legend of Zelda. Moving on. By the time Jack arrives in the future, Aku reigns supreme on Earth and has begun spreading his influence to other worlds. Entire races are enslaved by Aku, if not outright destroyed, their lands and worlds pillaged and their lives held hostage to force them into servitude. With an army of robots, bounty hunters, and demons at his beck and call, Aku asserts a wholesale dominion over billions of lives. In the premiere alone, Aku makes it very, very clear what kind of utter dystopia he rules. He has enslaved an entire race of sentient canines to work hard labor lest they be killed. And when the Bataquian leader comes to Earth begging for Aku's help, as his ocean-based planet is running out of water to sustain the inhabitants, Aku clearly reveals he's the one stealing their water, forces them into slavery, and condemns the later son to the torturous pit of fate to quote-unquote learn its place. And the leader's son was calling Aku monster for the water theft, and that's what had Aku condemn the leader's son. We don't even know what happened to the leader's son. We're just given Aku's lousy word. That the leader's son could possibly be okay. Oh, and the canines. Oh, and the part about the canines. Well, we actually see that the hard labor involves potentially fatal conditions. I mean, I believe we've seen corpses, although they're not the clearest thing ever. That I don't think kids know as easily, but they are clear enough for any of us that understand. Moving on. For just a few notable bouts of Aku's villainy in the time Jack was tumbling through time, he used the X-model robots to hunt down and slaughter any and all dissidents to Aku's rising power. Entire buildings shot up and the occupants slain. When one model, X-49, gained sentience and tried to turn over a new leaf, Aku kidnapped the boss morality pit, Lulu the dog, to force X-49 into a suicide mission. I need to clear up some confusion because the suicide mission was actually to have X-49 try to kill Jack. And yeah, it speaks for itself. But we don't know when X-49 defected and met with Lulu. So this point still stands. He decreed that any who tried to flee his dominion were to be immediately exterminated. A large group of scientists nearly falling to this fate. Yeah. This happened with the astronaut. Jack helped out, and they also gave Jack an opportunity to get back home, which ended up with the compromise that Jack was not willing to take. Namely, the compromise being the scientists being open to being killed by Aku's forces. Jack did not get home at that point. The series probably would have been a lot shorter if he had, well, maybe. Anyway. He opens Earth's doors to any and all war criminals or evildoers from across the galaxy, inviting them to Earth and offering them up pockets of land to depopulate and call their own. Men, women, and children all to be removed from the equation. Yup. And there's a lot of skeevy characters. Let's make this clear. The samurai, you might be thinking the samurai, because he is this is a racial stereotype. The samurai is at least has decency when all is said and done. At first he's a dirty coward, but he eventually comes around. He ends up saving Jack's life at risk to his own, and there are many problem characters. There are many problem characters in a futuristic setting that aren't nearly as moral as the samurai, or rather, they're significantly less moral. Going on, he cruelly slaughtered a Viking warrior's entire land, including his wife and children, and when the warrior confronted Aku in combat in an attempt to die in battle and ascend to Valhalla, Aku cruelly froze him in crystal, made him watch as his land was ravaged, then buried him alive to live forever and never reunite with his people in Valhalla. By the time Jack encounters the warrior, thousands of years into his entrapment, the man is pleading for death. Yeah, the lava monster. Everything about that is self-explanatory. It's a 22-minute episode, but it ultimately showcases a lot. And by the time we see Jack Mercy kill the lava monster, finish Mercy killing the lava monster and give him a proper funeral. Yeah, we're just rooting for Jack to get back to the past and hopefully subject the setting to Back to the Future time travel rules. Preferably with minimized problems. Wouldn't that be nice, actually? He oversaw routine, broad devastation of entire ecosystems, and civilization exterminations are old hat for Aku. In just one notable instance, he forced the scientist Extor to build Aku Ultra robots. I believe that... I should mention that the Ultra robot building was the F robots designed to specifically kill Jack and any threat to Aku. Of course, that's crime after crime with a very, very miserable tracking original motive. So, other thing. When Extor complied under threat of the destruction of his own city, Aku congratulates Extor on his success, then has Extor's city wiped out, and further tested the Ultra robots by having them go on a massacre spree of multiple villages. Which, to clarify, it's worth clarifying that was done to draw out Jack, but still. Any survivors of Aku's many, many mass killings are made into slaves, said slavery programs being so god-awful that we see literal toddlers in chains forth in the later. I actually don't remember about literal toddlers, but I mean, I'd be happy to have confirmation of the much to see that see another point in Aku's rap sheet. Gosh, yeah. Yeah. There's a problem with slavery in general in Aku's regime. I mean, what happened to the canine archaeologist proves as much. And thankfully, Jack ends up in this future. Now, as Jack shows up in this bleak, dark future, he goes on many a quest to attempt to free the oppressed population of Earth and destroy Aku once and for all. Aku, taking a delightful glee out of Jack's suffering, goes out of his way to mess with Jack every chance he gets. Oh, and thanks for the extreme language and the wording, buddy. Clearly you can't use less extreme language. I mean, I know we're all adults here, but gosh. Then again, I'm not. I don't bother to monetize streams in general. And moving on. He shapeshifts into a beautiful woman named Ikra and his allies, and allies with Jack to hunt down a crystal that has the power to send Jack back in time to his era. Despite seemingly forming a close bond with Jack and letting him get a hope thought of claiming the crystal, Aku shatters it at the last second and laughs at Jack's gullibility. Yeah, this comes complete with a bond game moment. Bite me, coward! Yeah, Jack is screaming as much at Aku. He forces the entire civilization of Oceania to pay loyalty to Jack, solely to lure Jack into a trap and try to slowly, painfully drown the samurai. When the people of Oceanus request Aku follow through on his end of the bargain and raise Oceanus back to prosperity, Aku refuses and then tries to wipe them all out. yeah. The name Oceanus is actually new to me for this. But the scene itself, but the description of the scene itself is absolutely accurate. This is referring to the Triceratops. Yeah. Aku doesn't even try to just drown the samurai. He just lightly taps the orb that he gets Jack trapped in to make a crack that slowly spills water into the trap. And it doesn't simply destroy the orb and execute Jack right there with no complications other than its own sadism. So yeah, and yeah, Aku just fails the evil overlord list, in general. Because this allows Jack. This not only allows the Triceratops to save Jack, this allows Jack in return to drive away Aku and liberate the Triceratops. Oh yeah. Next, when Aku contracts a cult of all things, he unintentionally infects Jack with a piece of his essence. Despite the initial confusion, Aku then begins possessing Jack and forcing him to do terrible things, culminating in Aku attacking a tribe of monks, nearly killing them all, and destroying one of the few time portals that could bring Jack home. And yeah, Aku catching a cold is a case of is a moment of Aku potentially being disqualified by being laughably evil, but we'll get to that. Speaking of time portals, Aku routinely hunts down the things to make sure Jack can never find them, and often will statistically let Jack get close to finally using them, only to rip Hope away at the last second and destroy the portals. In the grand finale of this nasty hobby, Aku smashes the last portal, then mutates the three nearby adorable animals into monstrous beasts, knowing the enraged, despair-filled Jack would strike them dead. Then the beasts revert back to their adorable, harmless forms, striking Jack full of regret and sorrow. This moment of rage on Jack's part ended up costing Jack the sword for 50 years straight. He had to set himself back on the right path, and eventually he had to meditate and everything. Yeah, it was a mess. The amazing thing is that for 50 years straight, Aku never found out that Jack was missing his sword. And I'll get to that soon enough again. Aku goes on to do further nasty stuff in the original show, including but not limited to meeting the Terran's prince and princess to help them and end a civil war, only to enslave them and coldly murder their beloved robot assistant. I'll get back to that soon enough. Using a music festival rave to implant subliminal hypnotizing technology into the music that turns dozens of children into evildoers, one of them nearly killing her own father. I'm pretty sure that was the work of a minion, but then again, Aku did enable this minion, so that's the merit points for Aku anyway. And being such a bad boss that he kills and sends his minions to the pit of fate for the slightest of failures, and finds any way he can pull an exact words or allied on those he makes deals with to break them. Yeah, he did this to the Mongo at the very least. He did this to Scaramouche, as we would find out. I forget who else he did this to. I'd have to check. But I want to get back to this point. The name Levital Terrence is actually new to me, but the scene is absolutely accurate. The description of the scene is absolutely accurate otherwise. I can confirm this much, because that princess that Ravik is referring to here, the aforementioned Pravina and Astor. Princess Pravina and Prince Astor. Do I have their names mixed up? It doesn't matter. I'll just refer to them as Pravina and Astor. But yeah, I distinctly remember that, and it's why I claims that Aku's moral agency is compromised at low. Because originally the Pravina and Astor were apprehended by some of Aku's mooks for on charges of trespassing, and Pravina and Astor were taken to Aku, explained their situation and everything. Aku feigned sympathy towards the two before sentencing them to slavery, where they could live miserably ever after. Aku literally said miserably ever after. This is not somebody who lacks moral agency. Period. And there were potential counter arguments to that, but I'll get to that. As the time of the fifth and final season comes about, revived after years of the show being in limbo, 50 years have passed in show, and Aku's evil has continued, with more and more villages decimated and countless lives lost. The child abusing and indoctrinating cult of Aku has sprung up, endorsed by Aku and blessed with its wickedness, while minions like the Dominator have free reign to turn children into living battery slaves. And yeah, the cult of Aku involves the High Priestess, one of the other two keepers, the other keeper being the aforementioned Dominator. When Aku has become depressed and malaise at the fact that he still hasn't killed Czech after so many decades, he wastes no time in repelling a rebel army that tries to attack his fortress, wiping out thousands of them with ease before murdering the ringleader, the Scotsman. And yeah, the Scotsman was a recurring character who he did get off on the wrong foot with Jack initially, but it wasn't long before he became allies and ultimately friends with Jack. When one of his minions, Scaramouche, who, by the way, does not qualify for complete monster, he's a nuisance, but he's up against the show's cracked heinous standard. He's up against High Priestess and Dominator especially. But as I was saying, when Scaramouche alerts Aku to the fact that Jack has lost his sword, a delighted Aku swoops in with Scaramouche to corner Jack and his new partner / love interest, Ashi. Upon seeing that Jack has rediscovered the sword in the meantime, Aku casually murders Scaramouche, only to recognize, actually angrily murders Scaramouche, only to realize that he recognizes Ashi. Turns out, Ashi is the closest thing Aku has to a daughter. He credited a piece of his essence to the cult of Aku's High Priestess. And through its divine conception, she gave birth to Ashi, a mixture of human and Aku, cheerfully forcing Ashi into being overtaken by her demonic side. Aku uses her to capture Jack and air a broadcast across his empire to televise the final death of his arch foe. Aku spends a bit of time trying to decide the best method of ending Jack's life before settling on the most sadistic he can conceive, forcing Ashi to kill Jack for him. While Ashi is coerced into the act by her Aku essence, Aku himself is attacked by a mighty armor as masked of those Jack has helped over the years. And though Aku lays waste to them with ease, he realizes too late that Jack has helped Ashi overcome Aku's influence and weaponize his powers against him. Because yes, Aku entrusted Jack to an opposite sex garden. And again, you failed to rule 86 I'm the evil overlord, Aku! I swear, when I initially did that, I didn't even think of this point. I was just thinking of this point. Shooting is not too good for my enemies. Which Aku, a bitch, how they violate. Just. Did he here? Just. It's such a failure to evil overlord. I was totally tempted to pat out the failure guilt. Just. Moving on. As she uses Aku's own time spell to bring Jack and herself back in time to the moment Aku casts Jack into the future, at which point the events of Samurai Jack Battle Through Time play out. Aku tampers with Ashi's spell in a last-ditch effort to ensure Jack never wins, throwing Jack into alternate timeline versions of past events that force him to relive some of his harshest battles. In Aku's cruelest moment of the game, he sends Jack back to when Ashi was an enemy, forces them to fight, then shoves Ashi onto Jack's sword, killing that version of her to torment Jack. Aku then puppeteers her corpse to mock Jack for letting me die, and possesses it to try to kill Jack with the body, only for main timeline Ashi to interfere and properly pull Jack back into her spell. And yeah. I have not played Samurai Jack Battle Through Time. I have watched videos, but I do not have personal experience with that. Yeah, it sounds rather nasty to say the least. Like, gosh. When your series originally concluded, Battle Through Time wasn't even out. When I was making my points about Aku, Battle Through Time wasn't out. So, yeah. I should mention this right now. Because back into the future time travel rules are in effect, or were in effect in canon before Battle Through Time is taken into consideration, and actually ended up being retcon. Because without Aku, no Aku essence for High Priestess to get herself impregnate with Ashi over, and thus Ashi ends up not being born. So yeah, she ends up retconning the original canon. I mean, Battle Through Time allowing for averting this while still seeing to Jack and killing Aku in the past, as we will get to. Battle Through Time allows for Ashi to survive Aku being killed in the past. I mean, it's conditional, but it's practically canon. Anyway, moving on. Ashi's spell enables Jack to return in the duel the Aku of the past, mere moments after he was first banished. You big old idiot! As Jack's sword strikes a lethal blow after lethal blow, Aku tries to flee in a small form of essence, but Jack's blade strikes through one last time, destroying Aku for good and rewriting history to a better, brighter, more peaceful one for all lives across the galaxy. Initially at the cost of Ashi's life, but still. We don't even know what happened to the people who did exist because of Aku's regime, but still. Yeah, victory did not come without a price. Anyway, mitigating issues. We have two folders, his agency and his comedy. Let's go, and Aku's agency has gone over first, and yeah, it's the biggie here. That has always been the first and last reason we've disqualified Aku. Yes, I recognize Aku's agency to not be compromised back in the day. Apparently there was evidence that he couldn't control himself, but I asked for this evidence. I asked for this evidence from Lighty Snake, and I would never provide this, and it never showed up or anything. I mean, I think it was just shown in Jack versus Aku, but no, it didn't work there either. It was just more of the comedy stuff involved, and we'll get to that soon enough. Anyway, Akka is described by Jack and others as the ultimate evil personified, etc. And he is such a card-carrying villain that he openly proclaims himself evil and takes every opportunity he can to kick the dog and be a generally sadistic scumbag. Here's the thing. With our more recent loosening of our agency restrictions, Aku should actually be fine here. The Black Mass is never spelled out as nothing but a ball of evil or energy or some such. Its nature is unknown, bringing forth from the cosmos as a force of destruction before a small chunk of it landed on Earth. And Aku, even then, wasn't born from that alone. It took Jack's father firing a mysterious, magical, blessed elixir into the mass for Aku to spring forth from the magic combination, proclaiming himself a demon, a dark wizard, and the ultimate evil to ever face the galaxy. Aku gleefully, eagerly embraces what he is, and I don't think it can ever be said that he's not actively, deliberately indulging in his most vile behavior. yeah, no kidding. The miserably ever after line towards Bravina and Astor. It's been said before on the thread that Aku is incapable of goodness to the point of it messing him over, but it's not that Aku is incapable, it's that he never wants nor tries to be anything but an eagerly self-serving, backstabbing sadist, and that is the nature is capable of being resisted by others, infected with his evil, such as Jack, or even Asi, who is part Aku. Aku's nature... here's another point. Aku, right before helping Jack get back to the past, using her spell... She grabbed back Jack's blade. She grabbed it by the blade part, the sharp part. That would inevitably have hurt her. Because let's make this clear. The blade is a case of Holly Burns evil. So, if it was just the Aku gun that would have had Asi get hurt. Well, guess what? Just the Aku gun. Why wasn't Asi hurt when she grabbed the blade by the sharp part? I mean, okay. She was by all indications recognizing the very, very clearly likelihood of the implication with the Back to the Future time travel rules, but even so. We should have seen some degree of reaction from the blade on the hand as she used to grab the sword with her Aku powers. Just so yeah. The sword is simply a case of Holly Burns evil. It's not. Holly Burns the Black Mass. It's just burning. With burning an evil being. It was not burning Ashley. Because it's a plot point in one case that the sword can never harm an innocent. So, yeah. I think it hurt the innocent creatures because they were infected with rat. Jack, well, Aku actually grabbed Jack's sword at one time and tried to execute Jack with it, but the sword couldn't do anything to Jack. And Jack was able to recover his sword in the midst of Aku's shock about as much. Yeah. Aku's nature may incline him toward evil doing, but nowhere does the show ever indicate that he's forced to be this way. What I think is the most condemning to the idea that he's stuck at being evil, to be honest, a big chunk of season 5 shows Aku bored, lazy, and sitting around at home in a stupor, doing nothing evil because he's so depressed about being unable to kill Jack. When a group of mud people accidentally stain Aku's floor, he's so utterly dismissive of things that all he does is show exasperation, but otherwise not raise a finger to people. Sequences like this and others throughout the show series show that Aku is capable of acting in such a way where he's not constantly seeking devastation and destruction for its own sake. When he is in the mood for it, as he often is, Aku is a monstrous, cruel bully and scumbag who relishes in what he does, but he is capable of other avenues that he just doesn't go down except when he's in a slump. He nonetheless recovers from this slump by the end of the season to go right back into his pure evil doing when he sees an opportunity to kill Jack once and for all. Yeah. I think that description's a bit head scratching, but yeah. Like I say, that miserably ever after life to defeat an Asper. Just. And Aku was birthed by and part of the birthing to Aku was a holy elixir, just complete with chanting, just. I can cite about Overlord and Ninjago. He was initially disqualified because apparently he had moral agency problems, but we find out. He corrupted the great. He was the one who corrupted the great devourer, and that's why Lloyd and Carmadon went through so much trouble. But the argument that was presented about Overlord was that he had powers of light in season 3. Yeah, was he any less evil? No. So, yeah, Aku's agency is not compromised. So, moving on to Aku's comedy. There's no way else to put it. Aku is hilarious. Yeah, I'll agree. He's a large ham, hair-trigger temper evil wizard who's just as keen to burn a village as he is to crack a joke about it right after. Some of his funniest moments including ordering a minion through the phone like he would a pizza and asking it to be extra thick. Role-playing as both his own therapist and patient during his season 5 slump, and being so offended by peasant children's check that he rounds up under the kids and tries to feed them fairy tale propaganda to convince them Jack is evil and Aku is a hero before getting so fed up and so unmoved that he just angrily leaves. That way that they joined the end! Yeah, that was one of the most hilarious breakdowns in the show. Despite these moments of genuine levity and Aku being a highly entertaining baddie, however, Aku's threat is never, ever lost nor played lightly. He does something horrific and moral horizon crossworthy every other episode he's in, and he has many more in scenes of zero humor, barring his dark, twisted jokes at the expense of victims. Yeah, he provided those jokes while controlling Ashley against Jack. Then he does light-hearted moments, and even his more ridiculous plans, like trying to brainwash children with rave music. Actually, again, that was the involvement of a minion. It still exhibits the suffering of the kids' parents as their youngsters are stolen away, and one is almost killed by his daughter. Even arguably is most amusing season of 5. Aku still slaughters the Scotsman's army, and Scotsman himself painfully turns Ashi into a slave and tries to cruelly force her to kill Jack to inflict the maximum amount of suffering. And yeah, here's the big point. DC Animated Universe Joker is scared of the IRS, uses duck floats in water, sings jingle bells, throws non-lethal pies in people's faces, and tries to copyright fish. Aku having some lighted-hearted, hammy moments in between slaughtering villages with children and cursing people to fate worse than death isn't disqualifying, in my opinion. Especially when the finale of the show and Battle Through Time have him at arguably his most sadistic and serious threat. Yeah. And talk about the sort of algorithm of deadness when check it. It originally checked for when the person died, and it eventually added one extra point that if they died during the grand finale, they're unlikely to come back, or they're less likely to come back. Like they're less likely to be dead. They're more likely to be dead. They're more likely to stay dead. Yeah. I'm not familiar with Battle Through Time. I don't think we even need the finale for Aku's cruelty. Just squint around the flint. Just squint around the frame and squint around the focus, and you'll quickly notice things like some of the Canaan archaeologists' previous comrades having been overworked into death. I believe we. I did a check, but I think that was shown through corpses. Anyway, besides that, nothing else even worth addressing. Aku betrays everyone he ever employs if he gets the chance. He has no standards against hurting children or anyone else. He sees Ashi as a tool he can dispose of, or even after realizing she's his dollar. Even when Aku challenges Jack to a one-on-one fair fight to finally settle things and give his word on certain handicraft, Aku finds every method he can to cheat before outright disregarding the rules and trying to kill Jack through any means. Yep. And I should mention that the 1v1, aforementioned, I think that, I wouldn't say that will be the cited moment of Aku's moral agency being compromised, but even that's garbage. Because, yeah, Aku made multiple attempts to cheat behind Jack's back. And he was very clear that Jack was wise to as much. Thankfully, he is. Heinousness. If you can think of a crime that's passable in a cartoon, Aku has almost certainly done it. He's a galactic conqueror who has turned Earth and many more worlds into despotic zigzag worlds of slave labor and torment. He decimates civilizations on the regular. He enslaves and tries to brainwash children. He makes a man immortal and buries him alive to specifically spite him from ever seeing his family in Valhalla. He routinely turns on and does horrible things to the ultimate service. He gives his blessing to the cult of Aku and his child abuse while letting men run rampant through the world. I don't even know if he's fully aware of what's involved with the child abuse. Although he abused Ashi regardless, so he loves forcing people to watch as their loved ones suffer and die. He tries to force his daughter to kill her lover before trying to kill her. So, gee, I don't know, guys. He might fail the heinous standard, even though he's the big bad. Final verdict. I say with a long overdue, immensely satisfying gratification. Extra stick keeper! Yeah, you're fun, man. Well, I got one for the same episode. Stupid bounty actors! ACW in abstain, so questioning about the Black Mass. It's what makes him uncomfortable about the whole thing. Austin DR says, we'll give a yes for Aku with all that being laid on the table. I laid more on the table. Believe me. I didn't have the chance to do that more properly. Just Agent of Chaos upvotes Aku. Turtle the Vegan upvotes Aku. I swear, Maverick, you always make proposals like that. I never see it. That's my butt off. Rabbit clarifies towards the ACW. Correct. The Black Mass was a primordial ball of something that formed. Then a piece of it got blown to earth. Then the piece got shot by a magical elixir meant that kill it. And from that combination, Aku was born with no further elaboration on how the mass or the magic actually created such a being. Just magic. And yes, Priestess and Dominator both easily still land as they're by far the worst of Aku's minions. Yeah, no kidding. Priestess involved child abuse. And Dominator, he enslaved children. He mind controlled children. I don't even know I don't even know how much of their atrocities Kun knows, but he definitely, it's extremely likely he'd approve of their garbage. Very surprised but happy upvote to Aku from Snow Troop. The real Jackie boy. Ha ha ha! Yeah, the Aku! Powermaster 201. A big thumbs up to Aku. Not gonna lie. This got me thinking of the other version of him we're checking now. Like the video games in the comics. I'm not familiar with the video games version. Emperors. Yes to Aku. I should have predicted that one. Great job, Evoc. Remember the Ice 15. I mean, yeah, hard to say a villain has no moral agency when he literally refuses to do evil things because he ain't so depressed. With all that laid out, yes to Aku. Ravik, you magnificent daddy. Yeah, thank you, Ravik, for what. Amateur Timber 1566. Yes to Aku. So one abstain and a good number of yeses. Amateur storyline. Okay, I'm seriously upset because I was going to propose a coup, but a certain trooper who shall remain anonymous shut me down saying I had no new arguments. Whatever. Yes to Aku. Yes. And there was an edit. Apparently, congratulations on making an effort, Poltravik. Your ability to make such strong cases sincerely inspiring. Didn't mean that. Yeah, sincerity, man. And I could guess that the certain troper that amateur story time is referring to would be Lighty Sneak because, yeah, Lighty Sneak's the one who blocked me on making my point. Just seriously. Ravik is next. To make something clear for folks, myself and Starcrafty have been working on going over Aku for several months now, and have never spoken to Amateur or anyone else about this proposal until today. So while I understand the upset, I don't want to get anyone to get the idea that Starcrafty or I deliberately told Amateur or anyone else not to propose Aku, only to do it ourselves. Not asking you to say who you are talking about, Amateur, but I just wanted to make it clear that you weren't referring to me or Starcrafty. It was sheer coincidence that things fell this way. I appreciate the words, Amateur. Yeah, I can guess, Ravik. After all, Lighty Snake gave me problems about these. He gave me problems a lot of things, actually. Fan thumbs up, Aku. You're a master, Ravik, you're a master at this. Polar fandom. Well, I think I'm gonna abstain on Aku. I've only watched a handful of Samurai Jack episodes, and it's hard for me to gauge when multiple of Aku are just an edited memes of him asking for extra dick. So that's 2 abstains. Revenant 30. And I unexpected but gleefully thumbs up to Aku. Yeah. Amateur story time. Once again, comments in response to Ravik's comment. Right, didn't mean to imply it was you. You made a stronger case than I could have anyway, and clearly put a lot of effort into it. I just had a mini tantrum, which was why I edited the post to congratulate you. Ravik responds again. Oh yeah, I didn't think you implied it was myself or StarCrafty. I just wanted to make it clear to the wider thread so there was no possible misinterpretation, as we have had instances of effortful theft, people telling others not to propose characters, only to then propose the characters themselves, and I didn't want folks to assume that here. What damn more both thumbs up to Aku? Amateur story time continues the discussion. It's cool, I'm just going to take it as a personal lesson not to let talk me out of a proposal just because they disagree with it. Off-topic comment. Miraculous, uploads Aku. And for Geo says, oh heck yeah, the Aku! Great work. Athena and Dari, I'm not sure who that is. Entry placement post. Evan Potter 09. A surprising but very happy thumbs up to Aku. Wetlanel's thumbs up to Aku. The revelations here have been streamlining in, and yeah. It was around. I was looking at these posts in particular. I was looking through the thread again to see what was going on. And what was... wait, Aku? And I was like, wait, Aku? They're proposing Aku? Yeah, I just had to see what that was about. Sorry, not. The Content Collector. Holy heck, Aku himself. I never thought I would see the day. Well, now I'm sold for him. Thumbs up for him. The background says, weak thumbs up to Simon. Don't know who that is. I'd have to check. Happy thumbs up to Aku. Thumbs down Dari. The rest of this is off topic from Samurai Jack. Captain Knox. Thumbs up to Mr. Extra Dick Guy. Aku. And JLVS200S says, I can't believe I'm saying this, but thumbs up to Aku. It's always surprising to see a candidate who was frequently discussed and rejected to the point of them being put on the results list and turned out to qualify and pin a relitigation. Especially when that candidate was one of the go-to examples of a character who couldn't count to supposedly lacking moral agency. And off-topic stuff? Well, off-topic from Samurai Jack anyway. Kronger and thumbs up to Aku. The rest of this is not on the topic of Samurai Jack. Snow Drum. Off topic. Yeah, Body is giving a thumbs up to Aku again. And the rest of that is the rest of that is on the topic of other works. Yorkovich Showman is thumbs up being Aku. Awareness bringer and thumbs up Aku. I actually feel inspired again. So yeah, finally, he's on the complete monster trope. There's only two stains, one of which was after clarification, one of which was before clarification. The other F-teen was from somebody who was unfamiliar with Samurai Jack other than maybe stuff. Everybody else is straight up upvoting Aku without the question. Yeah. Aku's agency is not disqualifying. Aku's comedy is not disqualifying. I made these points several years back. So, yeah, finally, Aku is not a complete monster trope. It's just a matter of time, I swear. Finally!